On January 13th, Russia's most powerful A50 airborne early warning and control (AEW&C) aircraft was shot down in the Ukrainian conflict, possibly marking the first time in human history that an AEW&C aircraft has been brought down. AEW&C aircraft are designed to provide all-round monitoring of missiles and aircraft on the battlefield. In theory, these aircraft operate at a distance from the front line, making them difficult targets for enemy attacks. Despite Russia losing Su-35 and Su-34 aircraft previously, the question arises, why was the A50 AEW&C aircraft also targeted and downed by Ukraine this time? On January 13th, Ukraine launched a well-planned offensive. Ukrainian Air Force deployed Su-24 bombers to strike the Russian airbase in the Crimea region. Multiple air defense radars were destroyed in the process. If Su-24 aircraft were used, it is highly likely that they carried Storm Shadow cruise missiles provided by the UK. Storm Shadow missiles cannot be launched from land and can only be fired from aircraft in the air. Due to the limited payload capacity of Ukraine's MiG-29, Su-24 bombers became the only platform capable of launching Storm Shadow cruise missiles. Therefore, it can be confirmed that Ukraine initially used the Storm Shadow missiles provided by the UK. These missiles have proven effective in previous conflicts, such as last year's attack on the Crimean Sevastopol port, where a Storm Shadow missile hit a Kilo-class submarine under repair. In essence, the current Russian air defense systems, including the S-300, S-400, Dal air defense system, and Soviet-era Shilka, are unable to effectively intercept Storm Shadow cruise missiles. Ukraine's first wave of strikes was successful as a significant number of frontline air defense radars were destroyed, creating a vacuum in Russian air defense in the Crimea region. At this critical moment, the Russian Air Force issued an important order to deploy A50 AEW&C aircraft to compensate for the lack of ground-based air defense radars. It's essential to briefly explain why the Russian Air Force considered this matter crucial. The first wave of Ukrainian strikes targeted Russian air defense radars, indicating there would be subsequent actions. Otherwise, they would have directly attacked Russian air bases or command centers. This insight suggests that the Russian Air Force was highly tense at the time. An A50U AEW&C aircraft was deployed, accompanied by an IL-22 airborne command aircraft. Additionally, at least two Su-30SM fighter jets provided escort. However, all of these actions were part of Ukraine's plan, as they had set a trap for the Russian AEW&C aircraft. On January 14th, a Su-34 in the theater reported detecting a radar launch signal from a Ukrainian S-300. Ukraine deployed a mix of Patriot air defense missiles and S-300 air defense missiles on the front line. Ukraine first activated the S-300 radar and, after detecting the Russian AEW&C aircraft's position, provided the Patriot missiles with the target's azimuth and distance. The Patriot radar's quick startup time, with precise azimuth and distance data, allowed it to capture the target's information, and the missile was launched. This timing was sufficient for the Ukrainians, but too short for the Russians. The Patriot radar's startup time, lasting only a few seconds, made it impossible for Russia to reliably detect the Patriot missile's position, and they couldn't even assess it as a threat. Subsequently, Ukraine launched the missile, hitting the target. The S-300 Patriot systems ceased firing and quickly relocated to avoid potential Russian retaliation. The Russian A50 AEW&C aircraft and IL-22 airborne command aircraft were hit by Patriot missiles approximately 90 to 120 kilometers after takeoff. The A50 aircraft crashed and caught fire in a swampy area in southern Berislav, Ukraine, resulting in the loss of all crew members. Simultaneously, the missile targeting the IL-22 exploded near the target, with debris covering the entire aircraft. Of the 4 crew members, 2 were killed and 2 were injured. The IL-22 issued an emergency call for landing, and the remaining 2 crew members managed to bring the heavily damaged aircraft back to Crimea's airport. This outlines the entire plan orchestrated by Ukraine to shoot down the Russian AEW&C aircraft. We need to explain in detail the intricacies of the entire plan. Initially, Storm Shadow cruise missiles were used to strike radar installations in Crimea, creating a vacuum in Russia's frontline air defense alert. This forced Russia to deploy its A50 airborne early warning and control AEW&C aircraft. However, a critical issue arises concerning the performance of Russia's A50 aircraft. It seems that its capabilities might not match the official propaganda, compelling the A50 to fly close to the front line. Judging from the crash site in Berislav, southern Ukraine, the A50 was approximately 100 kilometers away from the front line. This distance falls within the range of the Patriot missile system, making it feasible to shoot down the A50 aircraft. Despite Chinese media previously praising the A50's detection range as exceeding 400 kilometers, the actual performance may be much less impressive. The A50, developed based on the IL-76 transport aircraft, had around 40 units produced since the 1980s, with only 16 remaining by 2022, and approximately 9 to 11 in flyable condition. Reports suggest that only 3 of these have the full operational capability to execute missions, highlighting the issues with the A50 fleet. To deceive Russia and protect its Patriot system, Ukraine used the S-300 radar for detection. If the Patriot radar were activated, 2 consequences might occur. First, it would alert the Russian Air Force, as they are aware of the Patriot system's superiority over the S-300. Second, a prolonged activation of the Patriot radar could lead to detection by Russian AEW&C aircraft, making them vulnerable to attack before launching their assault. At this stage of the war, many of Ukraine's S-300 missile stocks are depleted, but their radar equipment remains functional. Thus, Ukraine's clever plan involved using the S-300 radar for detection, transmitting the data to the Patriot system, allowing it to lock onto the AEW&C aircraft within seconds. This plan can be considered quite ingenious. The final question in the entire event is what missiles hit the Russian A50 AEW&C aircraft and the IL-22 airborne command aircraft. I can be 95% certain it was the Patriot PAC-2, not the PAC-3 or S-300. Ukraine currently uses older models of the S-300, such as the 5K-55 missile, with a range of approximately 50 kilometers, making it incapable of reaching the AEW&C aircraft. Examining the damage on the IL-22 from the last images, the incoming missile likely used a close-range explosion fragmentary pattern. In simpler terms, it exploded near the target, using its fragments to impact the enemy's aircraft. This pattern aligns with the Patriot PAC-2 missile. The latest Patriot PAC-3 missile changed the kill pattern to kinetic energy, meaning it directly collides with the target to completely destroy it. The shift in the Patriot missile's kill pattern is due to the challenges of controlling accuracy in the early stages of anti-aircraft missile development. For high-speed aircraft and missiles, there's a risk of missing the target during explosive interception. This led to the choice of exploding near the target to increase the damage area and the probability of intercepting enemy aircraft. However, the technology in the Patriot PAC-3 is advanced enough for the United States to confidently use kinetic energy kill patterns, ensuring accurate targeting of high-speed flying objects. Through this event of Ukraine hunting down the Russian A50 AEW&C aircraft, we can see the significant impact of Western weapons in the current Ukraine conflict. Ukraine's first step involved luring out the AEW&C aircraft and using Storm Shadow cruise missiles provided by the UK. The final lethal blow was delivered by the Patriot air defense missile system provided by the United States. The ongoing examples in the Ukrainian battlefield consistently highlight the overwhelming superiority of Western weapons against Russian weaponry.